Previously, we met up with the pause team and saw the floors installation process.
It's really fun to see the trailer like this. I don't think a lot of people realize, probably new for some people, I've never seen a trailer being built.
I would kind of explain what those high pressure hoses and water lines and all that stuff is.
Okay, so which I can explain later in the units up front. So the only water lines we have going to the floor is our low points.
Okay.
And these are all the fill and breather hoses.
Okay.
Or the fresh water. And in the rear we have a black tank flush. So everything else we bring above the floor to keep it in the heat.
Yeah.
Make sure nothing, which we're working on getting heat in the floor. But for right now, the only water lines we go down is because we have to go down.
Yeah, just down to the tanks pretty much.
Just basically go to the tanks, yep.
Yeah.
And we have the low points.
And all our tanks have 12-volt heating pads on it.
Yes.
Yeah, all the tanks and even the elbows. Yeah, we saw it yesterday. Yeah. We got some footage of that, those heated pads. And just before coming over here this morning, we saw them throwing this floor down.
This floor down, yep.
This one-piece floor, this transcore material is amazing, isn't it? Like, if this was a piece of wood, it would have snapped in half when they carried it over here.
But it barely bent for being 20 feet long.
Yeah.
Being carried on each end.
So my dad is a home builder, and I've carried stacks of sheetrock, and they sell 16-foot stacks of sheetrock, and those things, they snap in half so easily. All the time we accidentally would snap them in half carrying them, and even plywood, they don't even make them that long because they'll snap, right? This stuff is unbelievable. And the cool thing about having this one piece, you're not gonna have any thermal.
Anywhere,
Offset seams, anything like that.
Yeah, which probably makes it a lot easier to optimize the frame space, right?
Everything is CNC too, so all the holes are dead on where we need them and stuff like that. We're not drilling holes in the wrong places and then trying to patch them up or something.
Yeah, yeah. And then also you have the ability to optimize your tank space, right? Because you're not so dependent upon having to do something every 4 feet or whatever.
To do the seams.
Yeah, because it's so strong.
And everything is glued down. We do mechanical fasteners on the front and back end just to make sure everything stays in place while the adhesion dries.
Okay.
Which we'd seen earlier when we were drilling those out. Everything attached now. And the front and rear floors are the same composite as the main floor is as well.
Okay.
The smaller pieces.
Oh, the little, oh yeah.
So drop down and the raised up.
Because that goes into the storage in the back. Yeah.
Yep.
So you actually build up the frame. Oh, well, it's over there.
We can see on the next
Okay,
station.
cool.
As you can see here, down underneath actually, you can bring your water hoses in from the bottom.
Yeah. And run them through.
Run them straight up, and without opening up the baggage door, hook them up straight to your Nautilus.
So that's why if you're at a campground, you know, and you don't want to keep your door open, so and you want to hook up the city water or whatever, at a campground, you can do that.
I think that's really cool, and potentially if you're somewhere cold, you know, and you don't want this open. And this Nautilus system, why'd you guys choose that? Why'd you go with that?
It just brings all your controls into one location.
Yeah.
Brings everything up nicer. So one of the nice features about this is, say you do run out of water, if you're able to source fresh water at some other point, you can attach a hose to that, put it into that fresh water, and actually suck your fresh water into the system.
So it actually
to refill your tank.
So it actually has the pump that pulls water in. So if you were to maybe
if you were able to go to a hydrant somewhere and get a 5-gallon bucket of fresh water or something like that, you know, you would be able to.
Or if you were to get a filter system, maybe from a stream, even if you're somewhere. Well, you feel comfortable.
But then it has your high pressure sprayer on here, which is a cool feature. Same as like an outside shower, potentially.
Okay.
You can put one of those hoses on too.
And this satellite and cable stuff, is that hooked to the
TD booster
right on the inside interior.
Okay, cool deal.
So that's another thing, like if you were at a campground and you were actually utilizing that, you could run it up through this pipe so that you wouldn't have to leave the door open.
Yeah, that makes sense. Seems like an obvious thing to do. It's funny though when you see trailers that don't do that, like simple things like that.
Then we went with a filter. It's actually a Blu-ray sand off-grid filter or a water filter. Filtration system that we put in for it.
And that goes right by the shower.
Yeah, we're putting that right behind here. Caleb, act like you usually do, sing a song for us. Stuff like that.
La da da.
Let's see, like all the pipes and stuff that he's running through the cabinets, all that stuff is CNC'd in from our manufacturer. So he's not having to drill any of the holes
which prevents any reverse slope at all.
All right. But some of these, Shane, I don't know if you noticed or not, some of like these black pipes that he's putting in right now, we're utilizing that as wire channels
Oh, really?
to run wiring behind there, because that's an accessible storage area.
Okay.
So we don't want any live wires in anything that's a storage area, so we're utilizing that as wire channels to run our wires through.
Oh, okay. So you're
Wires through there.
you're doing water and wires in there
And
just to clean it up.
not in the same pipe.
I got that, I think.
We do the fill. Before we set the floor, we'll fill the tanks up and actually do a float, or make sure there's no leaks. We'll set it for an hour or two, and then we'll drain it down, making sure there's no leaks in the tanks before we set the floor.
Yeah.
Once we set the floor, it'll roll over. He'll do all his water lines, black pipe, everything's done. Then he'll do the 100-pound pressure test on all the water lines.
Oh, wow. 100-pound pressure.
100 pounds, and all the water lines.
Okay.
Not the tanks.
Not the tanks. Yeah, the water
Once
lines.
the 100-pound test is done, we'll do a flow test.
And
Right.
how is that with this system over here that year?
This is for our
Tanks.
tank system.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And also for our flow system, we'll do run water down all the drains, make sure everything flows properly, check all the HEPA valves for any leaks.
Okay.
Before the walls are set on
Oh, wow. So
then
they're,
we'll
they're
do-
That has the
pressurizing.
ability to pump water in and pump
and
it
out.
out.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, so they pump
Yeah.
it out and then pump it right back into
Because
that.
we just reuse the water again.
Yeah, that makes
Use
sense.
our testing.
No point of like wasting so much water.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Then up final, we do a full PDI test as well. Basically redoing everything we do here and more. So
Yeah. So you're checking all the pressures here and here, and then also at the very end, which
Yep.
we'll get
But the
to.
thing is, we fill the black tanks all the way to capacity, because there's been times before where tanks actually had leaks on top.
Yeah.
So we don't fill it all the way to capacity. You don't detect that.
So we actually fill the black tank through the toilet with a hose
Yeah.
to make sure it's all the way up past the floor level to make sure there are no leaks. And then we'll drain it out, which we'll set it for, I think it's 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Let it set for 15 minutes and then check. And then,
All the way up the toilet almost. That's really cool. I've had experiences with brand new trailers with the tops of the tanks
oh,
leaking.
yes.
Leaking.
Yeah. So that's really cool that you guys pressurize all the way up. And then you said you do 100-pound. What do you recommend actually when you're camping? What the water pump
So
doesn't do
45.
40.
usually. 40
Yeah,
to
40.
45.
Well, we put a pressure regulator in now that we put now on the Nautilus system.
Okay.
Because the thing is, if you come to a campground or whatever and you pump in too much pressure, or you're at a source where the water pressure is way high,
Yeah.
then it'll ruin the fittings and stuff.
Yeah, but you have one that you're installing,
That we're-
right? Yeah.
Just as an extra safety precaution, we don't have to worry
But
about that.
you'd still recommend people to put a secondary one on the outside
Like just the Nautilus system
instead
that we
of
buy.
instead of these plastic
Instead of
ones.
PVC, yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
We're in the process of switching everything over to brass,
Oh, really?
just as an additional safety feature, that in case there is any residual water or anything in that they don't antifreeze properly in the wintertime,
Yeah.
brass won't crack near as easy as what these
Yeah.
PVCs will. But this is the fitting that we'll actually put on there. But
Okay.
that regulates the pressure, so it's between 40 to 50 psi.
So do you put it inside here?
This will be
On the
attached
actually on the city water
to the
itself.
city water itself. It'll be screwed right into there,
Okay, so you're gonna have that
Yeah.
put in there as a.
just as a safety feature. Now the other thing is, okay, so you're bringing your hose up here. Now you're trying to hook onto here.
Yeah.
You're going to get a kink into your hose, so we're going to offer an additional elbow to put on there.
Oh, that's
so
really
you
nice.
can go straight down, so you don't have to worry about kinking your hose.
There you go.
On anything.
You guys just thinking, being
on the
too
back-
thoughtful.
On the back side there, Brian, tell them what that black tank flush is all about.
Oh, yes. So on the front side, you can see the black tank flush fitting. So this is an anti-siphon valve. So water can go in, but it cannot come out.
Okay.
So basically, you hook this up, make sure the gate valve's open for your black tank, turn on your water. This will run down into the black tank. It's more of a, on the end, when it goes in, it actually has like a spray port, and it'll spray through your black tank.
So it's to clean your black tank
Yeah.
after you empty your black
Nice
tank.
flush.
Yeah.
It's to clean your black tank.
And
out.
this is just prevention from any water or any fluid or anything coming back this way, going through.
On my last trailer, I liked it way better. I would run a hose through the window, and then I put it down the toilet and, hold it there.
Just as convenient, right?
It's just,
But once we put that fecal filter in, then we'll be good.
yeah, there you go. There you go. Then you'll never have to go dump ever again. You just drink
Yeah,
and
just
dump.
keep going. Yep.
You drink and you dump into the toilet.
This is what that piece looks like that goes into the black tank.
Oh,
That sprays out.
the sprayer thing?
Yeah, so when it hits that, it
it shoots out.
sprays everything in the direction of the drain.
Yeah. That's really cool.
But part of the purpose of that too is to try to spray right where the probes.
probes.
are.
Oh, yes, yes.
So that's a common occurrence on a black tank. Your toilet paper gets plugged up on the probes and then your
Yeah.
tank ain't reading right.
Okay.
So part of the black tank flush purpose is to
spray
to
on
blast
those.
that off.
Yep.
Blast that. Okay, that makes sense.
So
So like, yeah, that's why my trailer with my toilet flush, the gauges never work.
it never worked.
No, yeah.
Because my hose wasn't like really
Spraying
it's just
it
going
out.
straight down.
Well, like, so this is the same flooring, Brian, and then you glue a rubber diamond
rubber
plate,
diamond plate
on top of
that.
it.
Okay.
So this is the same rubber diamond plate that we use in our toy haulers in the rear,
Okay.
garages and stuff like that.
Okay.
So it's a high-end rubber diamond
And we use
plate.
that on the front as well.
Oh, inside the storage
yeah.
compartment. Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
And these walls are pretty thick. This is why are these so thick? You have a
We have a wet vent for our tank. going up there.
The exhaust for
The
your
exhaust for our vent, or for our tank, yes. And then also on the other side, we'll have a pocket door going in.
Okay. Oh yeah, the pocket door on the other side
Yep.
makes sense. And then on this side you're doing plumbing.
Yep.
And then you were mentioning on the exhaust, standard trailers just put a cheap little cap on the top of it.
So we have a 360
360 siphon vent.
360
Yeah.
siphon vent.
Yeah.
And the idea of that is to, when the gas comes out,
helps eliminate the odor.
Yeah.
So you don't smell anything on the exterior of the unit.
I like to take those off while I'm driving so I can
siphons it out.
fog out the people behind me. It's really fun to see the trailer like this. I don't think a lot of people realize that you put all the cabinets in first and then the walls.
Then the sidewalls, yeah.
That's kind of probably new for some people. I've never seen a trailer being built. So all the cabinetry goes in, the walls, the cabinets. When do you put like the appliances in? Do you put them in?
We do the refrigerator before we set the walls.
Okay.
But everything else gets put in after. Front, we also have the rubberized diamond plate in your cargo area and the large outside kitchen.
You do a full glue down.
Full glue down. Our lino is a full glue down.
Okay.
Prevents any bubble lino.
And like on a normal trailer, you don't potentially want to do a full glue down because you have seams, so the unit will shift. But
Yeah.
since we don't have any seams, we're able to do that
Okay, because you
because we don't have any seams, so nothing is going to shift.
Okay.
We're a
That,
solid floor.
yeah, that makes
But on a
sense.
normal conventional RV, you don't want to do a full glue down because your seams are going to be shifting, and that's going to show up through your lino. Whereas
Okay.
ours, you don't because it's a solid floor.
Oh, that makes sense.
There's no seams. So
Because as you're walking over time, it's going to be constantly
It'll start
shifting
adjusting or
to wherever
shifting.
you're.
But that's the one thing that when we set out to design this unit, I didn't want any seams on the floor or on the sidewalls.
Yeah,
Because that's a common occurrence on RVs or whatever.
but that's what
Going
the
down
seam
the
tape.
road.
The seam tape is for, right? You just tape it
Seam
back.
tape or trim or whatever, and then they pop when you're going down the road.
Yeah,
Because these units go through a mini
earthquake.
earthquake when you're going down the road.
Yeah, when you go on
But we don't
when
have
you
no
go in
seams.
Moab, we got 7.0s.
And there's no seams or nothing to pop loose. So
Yeah. Well, and a lot of those seams, they're either taped or just finish nails,
Yeah.
like a cheap little, and they pop out all the time.
But-
That's really cool. That's incredible. And we're going to go visit Moride tomorrow,
Yeah,
and we'll learn a little bit more about these. This is the new sink in the 20.3,
the
Yeah.
20.3.
which I like this.
Okay.
This is
Yeah,
nice.
Because the one that you has a bigger sink.
Yeah, this is
And we took the cabinet down to a smaller
So we have a
size
nice
cabinet, too.
countertop space right here.
okay. Yeah, it's really nice. The ladies will like that. They're slowly
up, see if we got
progressing
any more.
down the
So, I mean,
line.
here's where the water pump and the water filter and everything is hooked up now. You can see it.
So actually, on every day we have every unit cleaned on every station online.
Okay.
So we'll go through, we'll vacuum, sweep out every day. It only rolls one section a day, so these get cleaned about 15 times before they go out the door.
Oh, wow.
Mostly what we do is to prevent any debris on the ground, prevent lino damages,
Yeah.
and making sure, like, so let's say behind the furnace, we don't want debris. You don't see it once the wall's on, but we want to make sure that area gets cleaned out before the wall gets on. So
Yeah.
if you take the furnace out, it's nice and clean. We're not
Okay.
having debris sitting back there.
That's really cool.
Well, one of the challenges I gave Brian is I said, I want this unit to be built in such a way if we were to tear a cabinet out, it looks just as good behind the cabinet as it does in front of the cabinet.
That's really cool.
We also have our inspection process. Our assistant plant manager actually does the inspection process here, so that way we don't rely on QCs going through. Our QC process is the management.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. This is the thing is people don't realize this. If you've never owned a trailer, Like there's so many trailers that come out brand new off the lot and you're opening the doors and there's sawdust everywhere. And that's not behind the cabinet. That's like in plain sight.
Shakedown that happens.
Yeah, and so it's like there's always going to be little things here and there, but like a lot of times they're pushing them through so fast that they don't have time to clean it every day.
I think the more we vacuum every area, sometimes you don't see the shakedown areas, but if we get it before everything goes together, there should be no shakedown areas.
Yeah,
so
yeah, that makes sense.
That.
Secured.
You know, with this amount of extension,
Yeah,
usually you would have to have legs that go down,
yeah.
and I didn't want to worry about legs, but I mean this thing here is solid.
This thing is
You
unbelievable.
can do it without any legs on it at all.
Yeah, yeah. That is like one of the most robust trays I've ever.
And it latches in the out position and in the in position.
And it keeps going.
So,
Then, I'm not sure if you guys realize this. Sometimes it seems like it's all the way out.
this, the,
You gotta latch
yeah.
those in.
So these
Oh.
are made so it can't go back in.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. But that needs to be all the way out, or this will not flip open properly.
Yeah, you're right. I know now.
Oh, right on.
I know now. I thought you just had to kind of jimmy.
So this is a prep space, plus you have all this storage space.
Yeah.
For all your grilling utensils or whatever else you would prefer.
I like this material too that you're using.
Well, it's food grade where you can actually put food down and cut on it.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that
it's
it feels
plastic.
it feels nice. And so this goes up and then sits on these little rubber grommet protectors.
And you have to push these back in. But oftentimes the mistake people
lot of
make
people-
is when they're pulling it out.
And these are
If these ain't
so
all the way
hard,
in, then it catches there.
and it seems like it's all
Then
the
they
way
try
out.
to open this, and now you're fighting.
Oh yeah. Yep. I do know. I know what you mean.
So
I've never done that ever. It's amazing how often more things are user error than the actual like the product itself. It's just not understanding how to operate everything is such an important thing. And then if you're yanking on it and you break it, it's like, well, you didn't open it the correct way, right? So that's pretty cool. So it looks like this is where you're.
here you can see where the
Electrical.
wires are running through the PVC pipes.
It's really
So it serves as protection and cosmetic also.
yeah that.
Because it's all storage area.
And this isn't going to be rubbing on metal ever.
Right.
It's right in the
Plastic.
plastic, which is
Sure,
great.
Yes.
And that's it's funny how they how often I'll open a trailer cabinet and I'll see wire behind the cabinets, right? I was actually intrigued by. I was trying to figure out where some of the wires were recently. Looking through the cabinets, I'm like, where are all the wires? Where are they running? I thought you must have been doing things under the floor or something.
But
because-
usually, you know,
I couldn't
there's
find
no
it.
wood in our unit at all. Like this here, pieces are all made out of composite.
Yeah.
yeah, and this would
usually on
normally
your-
be a wood.
Be a wood backer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really
So we
That's
do
right.
actually all our wiring is all on wiring harnesses
yeah.
that we build in house.
Okay. And look at this, how they put them in these rubber. See how they hold everything together, and then they put these protectors on it. So very nice. Oh, I was just wondering why you leave like excess.
Oh, this right here?
No, like yeah. All of
Oh,
it.
okay. Sorry for the excess on RVA code. We need to be able to pull the recept out 3 inches
Oh,
for
so
repair. So you have to have that. So let's say there is a repair or
Okay.
cosmetic issue or something going on where they have to disconnect it. You have the ability to pull that recept out. If we made it all nice and tight, you won't be able to pull that out.
wow. I won't name any trailers that we used to carry, but they definitely weren't following RVI. This is RVIA code. Is that what that?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense. Definitely, we're not following RVIA.
And that's also a pause standard.
and the pod standard RVA at least, right?
Yeah, right
You
on.
guys are probably going higher than our. And same thing with this too. You just have.
So we'll actually have a recept secured to the wall on the inside here,
Okay.
behind this access panel for our pop-up recept.
Oh, so then you give that extra wire
give
to
that
be able to
extra
do
wire.
that. It's just such a simple little thing, but for serviceability of
It is
that's
nice to have that.
That's a big deal. It is a big deal to be able to have that.
Yeah, we got a great electrical team here. So
That's
on
very
the back
cool.
side here, we have, which she has not hooked it up yet. We can check it on the next trailer. Our Victron system.
There we go.
You guys dug into quite a deep
Yeah, we did a deep dive over there.
So yeah.
Yeah, and Brian, the other Brian,
Yeah,
not
the other
the not the real one.
Yeah.
You're the
This
real
is
Brian.
the other Brian, yeah.
The other Brian. He is pretty intelligent on
Yeah,
that Victron
absolutely.
stuff.
It's a great guy to have on the team to get this all figured out.
And that's what Maynard was saying when we were walking off camera. He said, he said he called a few people, or could have
I
got a
reached
few.
out to a couple different vendors that carried the Victron system, and I was impressed by Brian's knowledge, so that's why we finally chose to go with him to put it together for
Yeah,
us.
and he actually knows the owner of Victron, and he's like done training for Victron.
Yeah.
Like-
Victrons come to him for training.
Yeah, that's what he was
Did you
saying.
explain what these switches are back here?
I did not.
There's two switches in the back
So
here by
we
the knowledge
have
system
the
that we put in
small
place.
switch is your battery heaters actually. So that's thermostat controlled. So if you turn it on, it'll heat them up and prevent
And we
them
put a
from
label
freezing.
on them farther up.
Yeah, so further up we'll have a label, everything.
Yeah.
Then on the right side of your switch, that's the communication switch. So if you turn it on, all your Wi-Fi connections for your Garmin, everything is turned on, it's
Yeah.
going. If you turn it off, basically the idea of that is you leave for, a week or you have it in storage, you can just turn it off to prevent the slow soakage of power that would take up
Okay.
for the Wi-Fi router and everything.
Well, that's really cool.
Go on.
Yeah, I
It's part of the purpose too, like your phone does updates all the time, and then sometimes you have to restart your phone to accept the updates.
yeah,
I think part of the purpose of that is
just to shut it
is
off.
to
Shut it off,
Shut it
turn it
off
back
to,
on.
to reboot the system to.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's really cool. I didn't know. I didn't, because I've been just like, I always leave it on, but it makes sense to, also with the pairs, the draws,
Yeah,
right?
that I didn't even realize about the updates, but
Yeah, there you go.
And then that white switch is your water pump switch.
Oh yes, so that's a toggle switch. It does not stay up.
Yeah.
So you can turn it on with the Garmin, you can turn it off with the switch, or you can turn it on by the switch, turn it off by the Garmin. So
Okay, so it does.
So if you don't
either.
have your Garmin or your app on your phone by you,
Yeah.
and you want to turn on the water pump, then you,
you
can
can
turn
just
it on there.
turn it on.
if you would have everything turned to winterization, you have your tank antifreeze out here, you have your
Yeah.
hose running there, you would have to bring the Garmin out and turn it on, you can just flip it on and
pump
it.
in the water. Yeah, that makes sense. That's really cool. And this is like, this feels so.
That's steel. Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the whole thing that encases the actual battery.
The way it's structured with the supporting beams coming back is to tie it into the walls in the rear to help distribute that weight. So
Yeah.
not everything is just resting on the angle of the unit.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
It ties it into that rear wall, which ties it down to the flooring.
Yeah, and then the batteries also sit right here as
Okay.
well. So
That one leg is, the one leg that you don't see there is removable. Just
This one?
So that you can get the batteries in and out
In and out.
if you're ever to mess with it.
oh, okay.
So we actually have it laying right here. So once everything gets hooked up, we'll install that leg. It just
Okay. And it has an elbow bracket,
Yep,
so it probably
yep,
just screws on right
in
there.
You can get the batteries out. It's just a lot better to have that leg removed, so you can
So
just
you can
slide the
slide
batteries
them out.
straight out.
Yeah, that makes sense. Very cool. I love seeing how this comes together.
Yeah, like a big sled.